You are an Ironman!
Welcome to episode 65. Today I am joined by Micky Doherty. Micky, you're very welcome onto the podcast.
Thank you so much. I can't believe I'm sitting here doing a podcast connected with an Ironman and half Iron and triathlons. I'm a bit overwhelmed.
You've got what they refer to as imposter syndrome, but let me tell you, we've all seen you in a tri-suit and you look the part.
Tell me what imposter syndrome is, because familiarise me.
So some people come onto the podcast and they think, "Oh, I'm not good enough to be on this because all these men have done all these fantastic things and all,"
Okay.
and that's, it's just about it's a confidence thing, I suppose.
Oh,
but
right, okay.
I don't invite anybody onto this podcast just for the crack.
Okay.
I see something in people, and I see a journey in you, Micky, and it's a journey that I think, having spoken to you a couple of times on the phone in the run up to this, a journey that will inspire a lot of people, I'm hoping.
Oh my God, thank you so much, and thanks for asking me. I really appreciate it. I really do, but I'm overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed when I get the message from you this morning, thinking, my God, I'm actually going to be sitting in a room talking about fitness and triathlons and something that I never would ever imagine that I would be doing.
Well, you and me both, Micky, because there was a time whenever I was not as fit as I am at the minute. I went from fat to fit, and I went from Ironman to Ironman and all the rest. So if you're feeling uncomfortable talking about the fitness bit and the triathlon, let's park that for now, because there's a journey to be explored here, Micky. So let's go back in time.
Okay.
We can go back as far as you want, but I suppose I'm curious to find out what it was like for you growing up in Derry.
I grew up in the height of the Troubles, where the Russell Street flats were. That's where, in the heart of the Bogside.
Mm-hmm.
And from there on, we moved to Galia. And so I grew up with a very strict background. My father was a Republican, and he was a Craigan man. I grew up a lot with fear and the army and the police, It was a very, very scary time for us. I can remember, waking up to sniffer dogs at the door and stuff, my father getting arrested and getting taken to Castlereagh and stuff. So I was full of fear as a child. But also on the other side, my mother protected me from all that, from all the politics side. She knew that there was something in me, Micky. She knew that there was kind of a performer in her son. And I started to dance, but nobody knew. I wasn't allowed at the time. My mother had it from my father. She put me on a bus and snuck me to Dublin to dance. I was an All-Ireland champion at 7, and I disco dancing now, not Irish dancing. And she brought me, and she had to bring me. And when I came home, she brought me into the city, into the Bogside or Galia, and put a karate suit on me. So I was coming with the cups and the trophies, and people always thought, then they thought I'd done karate. My father thought I was a karate champion, and I wasn't. Wow. I was just this little boy who was a dancer, but I was afraid. She protected me. She was afraid I was going to get hurt. And society at that time, boys didn't dance at that time. There was no boys. I was the only male dancer at the time. So I danced for a while, and I sang as well. I was a singer as well.
You were Derry's very own Billy Elliot.
That's just exactly how it was. And the easiest way possible, I felt so free. I couldn't believe all these people were cheering and clapping. But on the other side, then when I came home, it was just the very, very dark side, and the Troubles. And my father being from Craig, and he was so strict. And I was so flamboyant, and I always was looking for this acceptance and him and acceptance in society, because I knew I was kind of different from the rest of the people. There was no such word as ADHD then, and hyperactivity and stuff like that, and I knew that I was kind of special, I just knew.
And whenever you were on stage, and I presume it was a stage, Mickey, because I'm not familiar with the disco dancing scene. I would be more familiar with the Irish dancing setup, but was it something like that where everybody kind of got into a hall? Or?
Disco was a hall, and you just danced against one another, but it was flips and splits, and you know, and just wearing these costumes. Like my costume was like £5. My mom just covered me in glitter. Kathy Wade, she got was my dance teacher at the time, and she got like a silver tabby bow and silky trousers, and we were dancing the Bronski beat. You remember Bronski beat?
Oh yes.
And Jimmy Somerville, and I had the world at my feet. I thought I am going to be a world dancer here. Everything is going to I'm just going to be this champion, and I just knew that. But unfortunately, society didn't allow me to do that, and my father didn't allow me to do that either.
What was it like, Mick, for you then, you know, having to lead what sounds like a secretive, sort of a double life sort of a thing where everybody in Derry sees you as the Karate Kid, but, you know, inside you're the dancer. So the sense of freedom that you had on the stage sort of against the strictness of home and not to be talked about, you know, it must have been quite difficult for a young lad.
I was just a young boy crying out and not knowing, realising what is going on here. Why am my society not allowing me to do these things for, you know? And when I grew up in Galia, the acceptance was absolutely beautiful there in my street. We'd obviously, you know, there were no phones, and you know, we were a community, but they still didn't know that I was a dancer at that time, and I was quite. I wanted more, but it just couldn't be like that, unfortunately, in Derry, and you were just picked on, you know. But and then obviously I was a singer, I was a performer, and I sang for, you know, the Derry schools and stuff. And that's where just my horror story started, you know, the bullying started, and then it just became completely and utterly horrific for me. That's all I can say. Horrific.
It's well known that kids can be horrible to each other. And I suppose in many respects the apple doesn't fall far from the tree with regards that parents need to be more tuned in to rearing their children and creating that tolerance. But I suppose back in the day, you know, for me and you growing up in the 70s, moving into the early 80s, the world was a very different place, Mickey. So,
oh my God,
you must have had a tough time.
It was horrible from my teenage years, really. You know, as a child, the performance was there, and then when I started secondary school, that's where the beating started. You know, I was dragged underneath my first day at school. I can remember. Dragged underneath the school chairs by like about 8 or 9 men and kicked to death. Left under there, and every week it was just a constant bullying. And I hung around with the girls, and you know, I wasn't allowed to do sports, you know, and I teachers just didn't like me because I was so hyperactive. But I know some of them now, you know, it became a nice story because the teachers that I thought that I had obviously hated, and you know, and they'd have known better, they could have done better, really. You know, I ended up a nice story. I ended up looking after 1 or 2 teachers in my later years in the hospital, you know, and we became friends. And they said, you know, one of them had said, you know, we didn't really know how to deal with it then, you know, and I'm sorry, and, you know, could you pray for me now that I'm unwell and stuff? And it became a nice story, you know, but the scars hasn't left me from the school. No, I go to schools and talk about mental health, and I go to different schools and stuff and talk about fitness and stuff, but I just can't seem to go back into that school at the moment, and that's where the scar I thought I really haven't let go yet, you know. But it was from that time.
It's obviously a big trigger for you, Mickey, that school and your experiences at that school, and it's something that I don't want to open up on the podcast for you. Of course. But I suppose just thinking back to my school days in Oma, there would have been lads at school who were hyperactive, I suppose is the word that you have used, but I suppose it's a very different interpretation of it nowadays, because we've come to understand that there are people with these conditions like ADHD that their behavior is a manifestation of something beyond their control. Whereas back in the day, you were just seen to be a fidgeter or disruptive or a puke or whatever, and you were punished.
Aye, that's right. I got my lit diagnosis, but I knew I had it from when I was a child. I knew there was something wasn't right. I had learning disabilities. I couldn't sit to put pen to paper and stuff. I always needed the support. Never got the support until I was obviously, in my late 30s, 40s, with the later on at university and tech. But and I knew I had these kind of things because I've also got autistic traits, even though I'm very much in the public eye here in the city and Northern Ireland. I'm very much alone on myself as well. I can't have visitors in my home. I just don't have people around me. I'm still living them two different people. There's Micky on the stage, and then there's Michael, which is I'm just sitting with you here today. Talking, and I don't really normally do podcasts either or nothing like that. I just thought this one was pretty important. I thought I owed it to myself to sit and chat with you about how anybody can get this journey, even at 46.
Absolutely, Micky. That's 100%. The whole point of the podcast is, if there's something, I suppose we can fall into a way of existing and have a very, very negative view of ourselves, and we can limit ourselves, and we can talk ourselves out of things and be quite sore on ourselves. And more often than not, we don't hear ourselves being as cruel to ourselves as, in your case, for you to continue to beat yourself up, having been literally beat up, wouldn't have done you any good. And it's great to see that you're fighting for yourself now and that you're making your mark, particularly in the triathlon scene. Everybody loves to see Micky Doherty turning up at the triathlon in your glorious pink tri-suit.
Actually, it's actually my favorite color. Believe it or not, pink and blue is my favorite color. It just kind of looks a wee bit out there because of my tan. That's probably what it is. But I'm a colourful guy. I always was a colourful guy, and that is just me. It's just part of my expression. I think them colours represent love and kindness and happiness, and it makes me. I don't know. It just makes me so complete when I wear nice colours. Even though people say, "God, look at you in your lycra," and I do get the odd message from people saying, "I've seen you at the triathlon. God, you look well." But okay, I love the colours.
I'm the same. I can say nothing because my logo for this podcast is a pink M.
There you go.
Here's two pink M's chatting away. So it's worked out all right. So talk me through, Micky, how things panned out then after school. I suppose your school years were very difficult years for you. Moving into adulthood, how did things work out?
Well, I don't know. It's like I have to be real here and just really talk about how it really was. So in my adulthood, the stigma from school stuck to me. A teacher had called down. I was acting. I can't remember. Something was happening in school, and and one of the teachers had shouted, sit down with that handbag, and everyone started laughing, and the name Micky Handbag had stuck to me. That name calling, and it still does to this day. People think it's normal to say that, but people who know me personally know that's not what I am. But people think, oh, I just thought it was. I thought that was just your stage name, and I'm like, no, it isn't my stage name. It was a stigma that I grew up with. Children on the bus if I was going anywhere, so it carried right through to now, and still does right through to now. It's something that I have to live with. But when I came out of school, so I turned my life to drugs. Because I didn't know how to survive, and that's basically how it was. My mum found me at the bottom of the stairs. I think I was 14. She found me with the lead of the iron around my neck, and I just didn't want to survive. I didn't know how to survive in that world. I says, "Mommy, I don't know how I don't know how to live," and I found drugs at that age. And I have to be honest with you, Micky, I believed in the 90s, the 80s and the 90s, drugs then had saved my life, because if they didn't, I was taking my life. And the ecstasy and the drugs, it was a love drug, and everybody started hugging me, and I thought, oh my God, maybe people like me, actually, because I thought the world was against me, and I just couldn't get off it. From then on, I became a drug addict.
It's a very interesting concept, Micky, and thank you for being so honest with regards to that. It's not easy to talk about these types of things. In my role as a social worker within adult mental health services, I've spoken with a lot of people that struggle with their identity, with their self-worth, with self-esteem, suicidal, and addictions. And it's very, very difficult for people outside of health professionals and people like yourself who have first-hand experience of these issues to try and understand that for some people, drugs isn't the problem. No. It's the solution.
It's a living. I didn't know how to love.
It's the thing that stops you from going through with taking yourself out of the picture in some respects.
That's correct.
So we need to be a wee bit more kind of mindful whenever we're saying, don't be doing that and don't be doing this and wagging the finger at people and judging them. We need to be asking, what's going on for that person? You know, it's not a case of what's wrong with you. It's more a case of what happened to you. And that's very evident in what we've already spoke about. You know, whenever you hear what happened with yourself and growing up and the bullying, it makes perfect sense why you struggled there for so long.
I struggled just to be accepted, and then it's taken me a long, long time to actually do you realise that, you know, my mother told me before she passed away, the day that you stop worrying what other people think about you, it's the day you'll start to love. It's only really clicking on me now in recovery, a couple of years, that, you know, once you're free from other people's opinions, because I grew up and thinking, always worried what other people thought about me. That's where the performance, the Micky on the stage, you know, I had to perform all the time, I had to sing. Well, maybe they'll like me if I dance for them, maybe they'll like me if I sing for them, maybe they'll like me if, you know, I just never felt accepted at all, never felt loved by anybody, because I thought the whole world was against me. So
there's another thing that people will say quite off the cuff as well. Oh, you can't love anybody or until you love yourself. And I hate that statement, because it more often than not sets up people to fail, because it's so easy to say, oh, you have to love yourself, but how can you? You know, some people really, really hate themselves. And I have found through my work and my own experiences in life that if you can learn just to be okay being who you are, that's a game changer. You know, and that doesn't maybe set us up to fail with this idea that we have to love ourselves. So becoming comfortable and accepting who we are is our starter for 10.
That's it. And we'll always probably be working on ourselves. I still am working on myself years later, but I'm a lot better than what I was. You know, I'm content with myself. I'm happier. I just like being kind. I just like supporting people. I just like doing for others and expecting nothing in return. That's just the person that I've always been. It's taken me, now that I'm in recovery a few years, it's taken me this long to realise that I am that person. You know, where before I thought, oh my God, you know, I'm a drug addict. You know, I'm an alcoholic. I'm no good. You know, I'm just acting a maggot all the time. And, you know, that's taken me a long, long time to realise who I am now. So,
do you think there's something about growing up that has helped? I know I've always acted the idiot. Like, I've always been the class clown, the centre of attention. There was no party without Micky Collins. You know,
me too.
I held the back seat on the bus on the way to the gigs, and, you know, barfed up into the Asda bag on the way home, left it all at Slane Castle or wherever we were rocking out. Do you know what I mean? But there just comes a point in time where you just say, you know, I'm getting too old for this shit. Maybe that hasn't happened with you, but
it has. You know, it has. The big part for me now, and this is the most amazing part for me in recovery as well, is saying no to people. For all my life, I never said no to anybody, and it took me to realise, well, if I'm always doing saying that a people pleaser and doing this and saying, yes, I'll do that for you, I'll do that for you, I'll do that for you. The big part for me now is to say, no, now the ball's in my court, I can say no to people. I can say, no, I'm sorry, that doesn't suit me anymore. Where before I was the people's pleaser, there was no party unless I was there. And I also admire people. I also have forgiven a lot of bullies, a lot of people who shamed me, who beat me up, who called me names and stuff, because I realised that there was stuff going on in their lives.
Yeah.
If you're attacking me for something, or you're calling me out on a name, there's something there with yourself. It's not really me.
Totally.
You're unhappy with yourself. You're unhappy with yourself, and there's something going on in your own family. And something on your own insecurities. So I see that other side as well.
It's lovely to be able to connect with you and to listen to that, because that tells me that you have come from a place where you felt powerless to a place where you now have the power, putting up those healthy boundaries, saying no to people, and being protective of yourself, protecting your sobriety, and that's all that counts. Because my God, the guy that we're talking to now and the guy that we see out around the country on the bike and having the crack, thank God that you're still here and that you're still kicking ass. It's just a lovely thing.
Thank you so much, Micky. I can't believe it. I'm Ali. I came into this fitness world at just 46 years of age, with no experience whatsoever. I know we'll talk about that later. And just to be in this world now, doing that it's totally blown me away.
So let's have a chat about that journey. So the early days of your let's talk about pre-fitness. What sort of a guy were you then before you got into all this fitness? I suppose if you were anything like me, it might have been a photograph or a pair of tight jeans or looking down at a bit of a belly or whatever it was. Something somewhere along the line clicked and you thought, Christ, I need to make a change here.
Right, so I will be honest with you. No, that part didn't really work for me because I was so thin anyway. I was very thin because I was so badly on drugs. And I had a few breakdowns. My lowest was 6'2", and I went into rehab at 26 years of age. So the weight problem wasn't that for me, but I was hyperactive anyway. I was always hyperactive, and I just knew that I couldn't sit. But I had never no form of exercise. All my friends will tell you, well, where has this come out of? So, completely. And I, as a performer, I was up and down chairs and stuff like that, and dancing on top of tables, but no exercise whatsoever. That's when I got my diagnosis. I turned my life into exercise because I was so unwell, Michael. Mentally, physically, I kept on falling to one side. And I was just completely broken, and mentally and physically just gone. I lost the most important person in my life, was my mother. She died in my arms, and 4 weeks later my daddy passed away.
For goodness sake.
And that's where my addiction just got worse for the last 10 years of my life. So it was just I was completely gone. The head was gone. So no, fitness wasn't my thing at all until I got well, and I also got my diagnosis as well.
Do you see the diagnosis as a significant point? And a lot of people have very different views on diagnoses. For some, it is a thing that goes, okay, so it's actually not me. It's because I suffer from this, and it's really, really helpful. And then for other people, they don't want to be defined by a label. But I guess for you, there was a sense of understanding, perhaps.
It changed my life forever. Yeah. Sorry, Michael. Yes, it changed my life forever. You're completely right. I needed that because for a long time, I was getting treated for my bipolar, depression, anxiety, and I know I have all that. But I also knew from a young age that I was different from everybody else. My learning was different. I have autistic traits where I'm very alone all the time, but I'm also very vulnerable. So I need, and when I went, it was a long process actually. When I went I kept on falling, and I went for a scan and stuff. I was the lights and stuff. I just knew that it was unwell, and I had to bring all my school reports in. I wanted to know so then I could start figuring out why I was so mentally unwell, so vulnerable. I was really a vulnerable person,
Yes.
and when she told me that I had all these traits and stuff, it changed my life forever. I didn't let it define me, but I thought, right, I know what it is now. I know what I've got. And she did. She says, the only way that you can help change your life is exercise. She says,
Okay.
and the consultant says, you're a hyperactive person. And I was, she said, but could you try and learn to swim? It would coordinate your body. Coordination, you see, because I had no coordination with a dyspraxia as well, because sometimes I don't know my left from my right.
Uh-huh.
And she said learn to swim, cycle, and run. And I came home, and just a few weeks after that, then that's where my journey started at 46.
46 years of age, you decide that I'm going to start running and biking and swimming. So, did you think about triathlon very early days, or was it just to me? Maybe I'm wrong here, right? But I'm thinking that perhaps it's a feature of your ADHD that you decided because you couldn't maybe settle on one thing, you just went and tried everything. Is that kind of the way it panned out?
That's exactly what it was, and I just got myself a mountain bike, and I just kept on going out the back roads when I couldn't sleep at night with ADHD and stuff. And I was in recovery as well. I went into recovery too. Well, I knew that when I got all this kind of diagnosis and stuff, that I wasn't able to consume alcohol or take drugs or medication or anything at all. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
nothing in my body, and I wanted a fresh new life and a fresh new start. And I thought, I'm going to turn this around with my condition and do something else. So I just got a mountain bike, and I just started cycling out the back roads. And there was big, massive hills going up on the mountain bike, and I was just so strong on the bike. And then I just started running. But I can remember far back, I remember saying to one of my teachers, sir, I think I can run. You couldn't run. Go you with the girls and do your music. I wasn't. I was put out. I wasn't allowed to do them things. And then when I started to jog around the city here in the morning time with two girls, Deborah and Lisa, they took me around in the morning just for a wee 5K. And I just started to enjoy it slowly. But I knew there was adrenaline inside me. And I knew there was a real bad adrenaline until I was approached one day with I was entertaining a Spaghetti Junction here in Derry, and a running coach approached me and says, I've seen you running, would you come down and do the park run? And I said, oh, that wouldn't be my thing. I said, I'm not that fit. He said, well, I've seen you and I think you're fit. And I said, oh, it wouldn't be for me. He said, why don't you come down? You're a popular figure. It's for a good cause. It's for, for ARC Fitness or doing a wee group. And I thought, no, I don't know if it's for me. And he messaged me the night before and he said, okay, Kieran Graham, he called him. And I said, Kieran, okay, I'll go down. And I went down, and I done my first ever park run ever. And I think about 20 minutes. And he says,
Brilliant.
what?
Jesus.
Yeah. And in my ear, somebody came up, my friend, and they came up and says, you run as if you're lit for mass. And Micky, to be honest with you, I was never lit for mass in my life. And I thought, is that right? And in my head, I thought, I'm lit for mass. And I just ran. I think I'd done it in 2021 or something like that. But it was my first ever sprint. And I thought, oh my God. And then I thought, I'm going to be a runner. And then, obviously, I learned to swim with Shauna Mullen, which was Emmett Mullen, my coach now, his aunt. She took me down. I went into the pool with 2 armbands.
Right.
I could put my head underwater, Micky.
Unreal.
She says, you will eventually get it. And she took me across the water for a few months, And then I remember getting on swim fit, and she said to me, you're going to be a swimmer. You're going to be a triathlete. And I says, oh my God. And then I got myself, well, Gavin Devon, who, I don't know if you know Gavin. Gavin is a man from the city here. Gavin's a school friend of mine. We went to school together, but he is a fit fanatic, and he went into the triathlons. He took me out on the bike, took me for a wee run, and took me for a swim, and told me that I was going to be a great swimmer and a great, for somebody that never done these things before. And Gavin took me under his wing for a month or two to get me on board, and then I got myself a coach.
And
Which was it.
at what point then did you decide? So you've got all these people telling you you're going to be great at running, you're going to be great at swimming. You've already been up and down the hills around Derry on the mountain bike. The kind of the three disciplines are already thereabouts. You have this immense kind of load of adrenaline that you know is inside you, and you're just pumping to get this unleashed. The beast from inside when this man rocks up at a triathlon is going to be immense. But what bit was it that you actually said, I'm going to sign up? Where did you sign up, or how did that all work out? What was your first one?
So, Micky, it was 3 years ago then. I done my first. Was it 3 years ago? I done my first. This is my third year now in triathlons. So 3 years ago, I done my first triathlon for mental health. I done it to support mental health, and I also done it for the LGBT community as well, because I felt, because I was gay, and I'm not saying triathlons are for straight people now. I just thought. In a world where gay people sometimes feel alone anyway, I thought I'm going to set the standard here. They let maybe people from the gay community, LGBT community, maybe would feel that, they want it, but that masculinity of men and masculinity, and how would I fit on there? And I thought, well, I'm going to do it for mental health and do it for the LGBT community, and say, stand out and try and do it. And I was just going to complete it now. I wasn't going to race. And I did. I took my time, and I done my first ever lay and ball triathlon at the complex. And I can remember finishing the line, and Paul McGilvey. Do you know Paul?
I don't know.
Paul would be a commentator here as well. Paul would be he's done Ironman, and he's a legend in the town. He it's just somebody that I would look up to, and he's 60 now, and he was commentating. He was doing actually what I do in the city, but he was doing it in the fitness world, because he does all the fitness triathlons, commentating. And he says, and when I finished the line, Micky, he says, oh my God, he says, can't believe you've done it, raising awareness for mental health and stuff. He says, hopefully next year now you'll do the full triathlon. And I says, I just fucking done the full triathlon. He thought I'd done the try. And I says, no, I done the full triathlon. And that was my first one that I ever done.
Brilliant. And tell me this, did you find that there was any issues with regards to people accepting you for being you at the triathlon? Is it something
Not at all.
No, because you said something there, and I'm maybe going to say something potentially controversial, probably land myself in hot water, but you said that triathlon seemed to be like a big masculine thing, and my inside voice, which probably isn't politically correct, was immediately thinking, there's nothing quite masculine about us in our skin tight fucking wetsuits and our lycra tracksuits.
Oh, I know.
How unmasculine can we possibly look? So I mean, we all look the same whenever we're stripped down to a tri-suit. So.
I know.
But seriously though, the tri community is from my experience, a very welcoming and warm community with regards to wanting to see everybody do the best, irrespective 100%. Of race or creed, size or shape.
They are the nicest people in the world. It's in Derry. I've kind of become one of the lads. Even though they know my boundaries, and the club and the Northwest Triathlon Club, they wind me up and stuff. But it wasn't them was the problem. It was me the problem. It wasn't them. It was me fitting in, if I can be honest with you. Being that, still that boy of me wanting to be accepted and afraid of men because of the childhood bullies and the beating up, and just that still part is still raw. But it wasn't them. It was me trying to accept it. But then I became one of the lads on there, and they know that I do still do my training on my own, my swimming on my own, because the autistic part of me finds it hard mixing with 6 or 7 people and stuff, which I can't do. But I'm very much part of the club, and all the members of the Northwest Triathlon Club, were so good to me and so nice, and it's just really lovely to be a part of. It really, really is. It's great to be a triathlete.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Like, it's nuts. I'm buzzing. I'm getting the old hairs on the back of my neck going up here, because I'm connecting with you as you're saying it, and every time I'm speaking to people on the podcast, it reinforces and reminds me of, oh my God, I'm a triathlete as well.
I know.
I actually feel weird saying it because I still don't classify myself as an athlete or a triathlete or whatever. But
No,
I suppose
no,
other people will look at us and think that boy's doing triathlon. So
I know. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm there. And, can't believe I'm doing these things. But I've done a few triathlons now, and it's, oh my God, it's been tough, but it's been the best thing I've ever done. And I'm in the 50 category now this year. So I'm up against, oh my God, last year was a tough year. It was really, so the first years, you're just learning. I'm just about cracking the swimming now. But my times were shocking last year, which was delighted. The half Ironman and the park runs and the sprints, I was delighted. My strongest part is the running part of it, which I never thought I would be doing, but it actually is. And so this is going to be a good category for me this year. Hopefully, get some good results this year.
You're in my age group category now this year.
Oh, I don't believe it. 50.
So I'm going to put a prediction out there, right?
Okay.
I'm going to predict that I'll beat you in the swim, but then you'll whip my ass in everything else.
Well, probably.
So you'll hammer me.
Oh my God. Well, I'm only just learned to swim. I'm still literally 2 minutes behind everybody, but probably not now. I'm a wee bit more now. I have been complaining because I have 3 or 4 tears in my rotator cuff. I haven't this last 2 or 3 years, so that's what's holding me back from the swim. And I'm on a cancellation list now to go and have the surgery done as soon as possible. They rung me to say, you're on the cancellation list, you're next to go. That's the reason why I'm back on the swimming. That's the reason why I'm slow. But once this is cracked, then I'm good to go. But the bike is the bike is easy, and the running is easy for me. So that the 50 category, I'm looking forward to a challenge.
But hey, whenever I was chatting to you, in the run up to this podcast, you had dropped a few times that you were chasing and times that you had been hitting during sprint triathlons. And let me tell you, you're not holding back.
Oh my God, I know.
You're flying already. What are you not going to be like when you get this shoulder sorted? That's
probably what it is. It's holding me back. And then once this is done, I think I'll be grand. But do you know the way it is? This is how I'm seeing it. So I like the support side of the triathlons. I was thinking if you're supporting everybody else, that's where the success comes.
Yes.
Congratulations to first, second, and third, and fourth, and fifth. Absolutely amazing. I want to do the best that I can. I don't look at. I often hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I couldn't catch you," or "You couldn't catch me today," and unfortunately, that's something that I don't believe in. I just don't believe in catching anybody. I just like to catch myself. So I don't be out to catch anybody. That's my honest opinion. And I love the support. I love cheering people on. I love being at the. I host a lot of them races now. Even the half marathons here and all the sprints here. And I like the support part of it. I don't like the pressure, unfortunately. That's the only thing, is the pressure. But the Sheephaven that's where I believed then that I was a good triathlete. The time was shocking for me, and I wasn't expecting it at all. The Derry 10 miler here, I just wasn't expecting that. Them 2 races led me believe then that I can be who I can want to be. Anybody can be. At my age, I can still do it.
Tell me how you got on in Sheephaven. Sheephaven is a race that I have done it once. I'm hoping to do it this year on my part of my training for Ironman Barcelona. So I'm looking to go back to Sheephaven. A beast of a course. How did you get on in Downings?
If you ask anybody that is in my club or even my coach, he will tell you, I thought it was a doddle. I loved it. And a reason being why, I rung my coach a week before and I said, Emmett, I'm not going in there with any expectations. I'm going to Canada that night on a holiday back to Vancouver. I fell off the bike in Oma. And Adam Ward's daddy was cheering me on. He was like, "Oh my God, you're flying on that bike today. You're great." And I thought, "Oh my God, I have it here." And I went around the corner and I fell off the bike. And that, for me, was so disappointing because I loved Oma. I loved the people of Oma. And I thought, this is going to be an amazing course. I just fell in love with Oma, believe it or not. So the rest was disappointing, and I thought, oh, I'm just going to go and enjoy the Ironman and not expect anything at all. And as you know, the swim was absolutely horrific, and that was cut. And my bike, let's talk about the bike. I get on the bike, and it was the most horrific day ever. So if the wind wasn't going against me, it was blowing me up the hill. And I was so behind from everybody. I think I was 8 or 9 minutes behind everybody and in the swimming. And when I got out and when I went on the bike, I absolutely smashed it. And I don't know where it came out. I just kept my head down. I actually got off the bike. You know, at the bridge, when you have to go over the bridge?
And Downings were at? Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to cross. I had to come off the bike because the bike was blowing me off the one was blowing me. So I got off the bike, ran over the bridge and back on the bike again. And I managed to still do the bike time in under 3 hours.
Brilliant.
And
Christ,
then
that's some going.
Everybody was shouting at me, Micky, you flew in the bike. And after that, I knew I had the run. So I thought, I'm not going to kill myself here. I'm going to enjoy this. And I did. I got off the bike and I just started waving to everybody. I was dancing along I was twerking. Everybody was cheering. I really enjoyed it. It was the best race of my life. My coach will tell you, he was like, oh my God, can't believe you've just totally blown it out of the water. I believed then that I was good at what I'd done. And I came second in the club. It's the best second I've ever got in my life. So and again, congratulations to all the people that won. I was just delighted with that and walked away a happy man. So
that's unreal. So that's probably speaks volumes to what we can do whenever we relax and don't put ourselves under pressure.
100%.
That's unreal.
I'm going on holidays. I'm just going to enjoy this. And I didn't think about any time whatsoever until I think it was Conan Murray and Colin Field says, Micky, you flew in that bike today. And I was like, oh my God. He says, I'll keep going. And then I knew then, I thought, I'm not going to stress myself for the run because if I can just do the run in 90 minutes, it's okay. It's normally a half marathon. And then before I knew it, I done a good time. I was delighted.
So just casually throws in, if I could just do the run in 90 minutes. I'm here to tell you, if I could do a bucking half marathon in 90 minutes, I would be one happy camper.
Oh, that's easy.
I think the last time I done it took me over 2 hours to do the run. I was banjaxed, my legs were smashed from the bike. Big elevation on that course too. Quite technical. Down the switchbacks and stuff.
I loved it. I actually loved it. I think the people brought me around. The Sheephaven staff were absolutely incredible, cheering you on, and I just found it a great buzz. I didn't find it difficult at all. I really didn't.
There's a lovely wee vibe in the town as well in Downings, where you get good support as well, and you're running in and out of it sort of 3 or 4 times on the run too is always nice.
It is. People are so friendly, but people do. I believe the support part for me is the best part of doing these kind of races.
So tell me how you got on then for this year. What was your standout races of 2025?
Oh my God!
You mentioned Oma. You mentioned Oma there as well. You had a spill on the bike in Oma, but so that was one of your memories. Maybe not a good one. You might come back to us maybe later on this year and put that to
oh
bed.
My God! I can't wait because I loved the whole setup of Oma. They're just so welcoming. The people are just so welcoming, and that's probably why it's one of the buzziest triathlons, I would say. I love the commentator, the big 6 foot handsome boy, whatever he was. He was standing directing everybody. The good looking boy, what's his name? Oh God,
we're all good looking in him. It'd be hard for me to be able to say.
But he was lovely. He was really nice. He was standing on top of the podium, and I thought, oh God Almighty, he's so nice. But it was just a lovely. I liked the pool. I liked the sea. And coming out of the sea straight onto the bike. I loved the bike route, and I thought I had it. I thought I'm going to do a good time here until I fell off the bike. So that was disappointing for me. But I walked. Why I was so happy coming away from there because of the people and the support and everybody encouraging one another in Oma. That was all. Oh God, I thought it was lovely. So the best one for me this year. 25 was the Sheep Haven and the Derry 10 miler as well. The Derry 10 miler just totally blew me out of the water. That was my best race, my fastest race. And Marty's Run. Marty's Run is the most popular race here in Derry, Mickey. Marty was an athlete, and then Marty was a friend of mine. Marty was killed on Halloween night.
Right.
16 years ago, and there's a run here which is pretty big every year, and I walked it for the last 14 years because obviously I wasn't on the fitness at all.
Yes.
And last year I ran it, my first run, and they was like, "You're going to run this run," and I says, "I'm going to run." And last year I done it in 18 minutes, and this year I done it in 17 minutes and 30, I think it was. That was the two best. So the Sheep Haven and 5K, Sheep Haven and Marty's Run was my two best. Oh, and the Derry 10 miler was 62 minutes.
Unbelievable.
So that's my just 3 good goals, and I'm happy at that. I don't know what the 50 category is going to hold for me anymore because I don't like pressure. So I haven't been really obsession there at the minute. Just enjoying the running, enjoying the swimming. I'm clicking the swimming now. 3 or 4 years later, it's just about coming on.
Aye, and I suppose the trick is not to put yourself under any pressure. Just keep doing what you're doing, and everything will slot into place, and you'll just naturally progress. Anyway, I think if you put too much pressure on yourself with regards to chasing people, like you've already said, that it might just put you under too much pressure.
No, I'm not going to be doing that. Unfortunately, I'm not. This is my year. I'm 50. I'm in recovery. I'm clean. I'm sober. I feel better than I ever did. My focus will be the Ironman, the full Ironman for my birthday, because I know probably everyone in Derry is probably going to expect me to have a party and a show. And if it's not going to work out that way, I'm going to go and do an Ironman. Hopefully, Barcelona. People can. A man about a dog. There might be a wee man about a dog that might be able to help me there. So, please God,
Hey, did you ever think that you'd be thinking about doing an Ironman on your 50th
Never in my
birthday?
life.
That's exactly what happened with me as well, which is bonkers, isn't it?
Well, this is another part. So speed I have, Mickey, but endurance I don't have. So this is this year this is where I need to have to work on. And I'm going to sit down with my coach, Emmett, who is absolutely incredible. He has just been unbelievable. Became a friend and a coach, and it's just incredible what he does. And he believes in me, and he knows what way I work. He knows what ADHD. He knows everything about my personal being, and he knows what suits me. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and seeing how this is going to work with the endurance part. That's what's scaring me. I'm thinking, oh my God, how am I going to do 26 miles when I can only get a speed? No, I'm good at 5Ks and I'm good at sprints, but short stuff. So I'm going to focus more on an Ironman rather than all the triathlons this year, possibly, maybe. I'll do the Liam Ball and do Oma.
And do you think that the ADHD makes you want to just go at 90 miles an hour all the time? Is that part of your...
Oh, 100%. My mental health, I don't... That's the only part that's scaring me.
Is trying to rein that energy.
Trying to focus, how am I going to do 26 miles? I'm thinking, now that I'm speaking with you, I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to do 26 miles? When I like to get it done fast and over again. But look, every day I'll just wake up and just hope that I'll get stronger and the endurance will get stronger, and Emmett will have a plan for me. And I think I've also followed his plans, so I will just see how that goes.
Brilliant stuff.
I don't even know how many miles is. Tell me this: how many miles in the sea is the Ironman, Michael?
The Ironman is a 2.4 mile swim,
right?
112 mile on the bike.
Oh my God!
And then a marathon.
And do you just take your time? Obviously, you have
17 hours to do it. So, look, as I keep saying to people, if I can do it, anybody can do it. If you have manners and you do the training and you're consistent in your training, you're turning up on the day for a lap of honour and to pick up a well-deserved medal. If you follow Emmett's plan, you'll not go wrong. 100%.
it probably will be a dream come true. And I'm getting very overwhelmed speaking with you about it because I don't know how lucky I am.
No, you're doing fantastic, Mick. That
You know,
will happen. I have no doubt. That will
it's taking me to
100%
this.
happen.
One way I'm happy, and the next one I just get overwhelmed. I'm thinking, it's taking me to 50 years of age to realise that, I'm into fitness and how grateful that I am that I'm able to do these things and do it with pride, and do it for my 50th birthday. And thinking, oh my God, if I had done this when I was younger, where would I be in life? But
you know what? You're a young 50 as well, Mickey.
Oh, thanks. Thanks a bunch.
Because you and I have left it so long to get ourselves fit,
Yeah.
we aren't likely to get injured. So what I'm trying to say is the guys that were playing football whenever me and you were drinking and smoking fags, whenever they were getting injured and busting themselves and burning out and getting all sorts of injuries, me and you haven't. Our bodies are only, our wee muscles are only growing. So
That's right.
we don't
You're
have them.
exactly right.
You know what I mean?
You're
That's probably
exactly right.
complete bullshit, but that's the way I kind of look at it. We haven't been as sore on our bodies over the years, so we're likely to have a level of longevity. I'm hoping moving forward, if we have a bit of manners and train within our sort of means, if that makes sense.
That's right. That's right. Injury free. I don't have problems with the calf, but it's not there anymore. But just the shoulder. But I know that at this age, well, what can happen now? Like, what can happen now? So there's no wear and tear. Isn't that right?
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's that wear and tear that we have managed to avoid. Probably not in the most healthiest of ways, but we've avoided that wear and tear over the years, and we're in a good shape now. So, theoretically, we should be able to continue doing this well for the next 20 years.
Please,
that's
God,
life.
please, God. My plan as well. It's changed my life forever. I couldn't think of doing nothing else but triathlons. I'm just looking out at the snow there. I'm thinking, how I haven't been on the bike in a few weeks. How the hell am I going to get back to this with the snow? But I have to be doing something every day: bike, swim, run, cycle. I have to be doing something to keep me going.
That's half the battle, but that's also the part that's going to make sure that you'll get that Ironman medal, Mickey. And then whenever you cross that line and you pick up that medal, there will be no doubt in your mind that you can do anything. It's an amazing, amazing thing. It's phenomenal.
Which one did you do?
I did Ireland on the day I turned 50. And then I did Ironman Lanzarote last year, 2025. And this year I'm doing Barcelona in October.
Wow. Well, I hope to God I will be seeing you in Barcelona if I can squeeze an entry. Somebody might be helping me. I have to figure that out. But oh my God, that'll be good.
It'll be unreal. I have a lovely quote that if you want something bad enough, you'll find a way, and if you don't, you'll find an excuse. So you'll have to provisionally get the flights booked and have a wee look at the hotels. And with the help of God, I'll see you out in Barcelona in October.
Oh my God, that would be great. That would be great.
If we don't meet up in Barcelona, I will look forward to meeting you in the flesh in Loch McCrory at Try the Loch.
Please God, I absolutely loved it there that day, believe it or not. I went away smiling, so I will hopefully see you there, Noma. But look, thanks for asking me here. I'm just so appreciative that you asked me to do it. I know that it's an honour to be sitting here speaking about this kind of sport with yourself, and it's just a dream come true for me, so thanks a bunch.
You're very welcome, Mickey, and all the very best for 2026. You keep shining and keep doing what you do, and all the very best.
Happy New Year.